very well.
Okay.
Okay, so we're live.
Okay, we're live. Good evening, survivors. And we'll put it so we can see everyone. We're so excited to have our friend Loren Kambestad on tonight. We have a history. He taught Lily in English, and his dad taught Lily PE in elementary school. And I feel like him and his dad, or her and his dad, Loren, had a kind of a cool relationship, just a kindred, I guess, relationship. And a neat experience that happened with Loren was Lily's, after she passed away, her friends had a little party, and he showed up for the party, which I didn't know was going to happen, and it meant a lot to me. And that was the last time I got to chat with him, but it's one of my favorite memories, is just talking about Lily and how his life was going, and gave him a big hug, and it's just a really
he
cool
hung out
memory
with
for
the
me.
girls for like 3 or 4 hours. Like he hung out there with them for like the day. It was so sweet and so kind.
Such a good man. Just always, he has a special place in my heart. And so, and we're grateful to Marshall. We've been able to partner with him for a run in honor of his dad, and Live Like Lily has. And it's been fun to work with him through that. And after Lily passed away, he did work with the youth and sold bracelets and did a little presentation. So we love Marshall and his family. Glad to have him.
And Coach K, as I know him as, he passed away in January, just following Lily's passing in August, right? So it was January of 2018.
Yep.
What day was it? The 11th?
It was the 17th. Or no, I always forget the day, but yeah, it was in January.
Okay.
Well, my little touch. So he was on my move in memory this year, right at the top of the year, and it was a freezing cold night. And I was going to go out and beat his 3-mile record on the track. I was going to do that, and I got to 14 minutes and 46 seconds, and I was at 2 miles. So I was only a mile behind him when I got to his 3 miles was 14 minutes and 42 or 46 seconds.
It was 14:13.
14:13.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! So I was at 2 miles. Well, no, I was at 2 miles when I hit his 3-mile record, and I was thinking, "Holy crap, that is so ridiculously fast, so fast."
Yeah.
It's way because I was doing six something minute miles, and he was doing like 4 minute miles, right? Or just
4:44.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, right, gotcha.
Cool.
Well, it's ridiculously fast. That's all I gotta know.
Yeah,
That's sure.
Yeah.
So since we're on what's your fastest 5K or 3.3 miles?
So I was in college. I ran 14:35 for a 5K. So it's 4:40 a mile, and so I got to take the family record from him, which was fun to rub in his head. But he was a high school junior. I was about 6 years older as a college senior. But yeah, he was pretty unbelievable. So.
That's amazing. Cool. Well, we can't wait to hear your story about Lessons of the Finish Line. So turn the time over to you.
So I think at the beginning of my dad's story starts kind of with his upbringing. So like we talked about, he was a tremendous runner. He grew up with 4 other siblings, and they were very athletic family, and they grew up in a small town called Bristol, which is just east of Aberdeen. And my dad got really into running, and he loved it. His mom worked very hard for the family, and they did not have a whole lot of money. He talked at a running camp that I did, and he actually teared up talking about how my grandma gave him her last bit of money so he could get a drink after the race. And he very much treasured his relationship with his mom. His dad, he had kind of a different relationship with. He was an alcoholic, and he actually my dad's dad never saw him run. And that kind of shaped the dad that he became. My dad was somebody that wanted to be there at every event. He wanted to take photos every day growing up. And so, he was very much present in my life, which I'm very thankful for. And so I was out on my run today and was just kind of thinking about the early memories with him. And the biggest thing that I remember is going to Canyon Lake where he was teaching at the time, and just hanging out, shooting hoops, and just spending time with him. And I think in this age with technology and everybody on their cell phone, is something that I have to fight with my daughter, of just staying off of it. And I'm very thankful that I grew up in an era where there wasn't cell phones in everybody's pocket. And just that time with him was just something that I treasure a lot. And so that was basketball was kind of our big thing when I was younger. And then when I got to be in middle school, kind of running started for me. And obviously it was a passion of his. And he just encouraged me to run. And he never pushed me into it, but looking back, all those times that we were together talking about running and what does it take to become one of the best in South Dakota, talking about proper warm up and race strategy, but just also mindset of, hey, no one's going to outwork me. And that was very much kind of my mindset. And I got that from him. And so even in college, when I moved on to SDSU and would travel, he would show up at races. He was at Illinois, and he came to North Dakota to watch me run. He came to Utah to watch me run. I was just very lucky that he wanted to be there for all those races. And now I look back and they're just memories now. And of course, when you're 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, you just want to be hanging out with your friends and, oh yeah, Dad, thanks for showing up. But now looking back and knowing the sacrifices that he did to get there was just really impactful. And where he really became kind of a mentor was when I got into teaching and coaching, which both my parents inspired me to do. And so I started teaching and coaching in Sioux Falls, and then after a few years moved back to Rapid. And my dad was there watching all my kids and knew all their times. And so he was still there supporting my coaching and teaching. And he was there mentoring me through kind of some of the challenges that naturally come up as you're working as a teacher and coach. And those, now that I'm coaching at Central, there was a brief time where he coached at Central. And having those memories of him coaching there and what he did with the program really inspires me today, and has kind of shaped how we do things in my program. And so teaching and coaching, actually at the time I was at Southwest, and he just wasn't himself. Like he was just kind of moody and just kind of having a hard time. And so they took him into the doctor, and they found out that he was going to need a valve replaced, and then he was probably going to have at least 2 bypasses. And so anytime you have kind of a heart surgery type thing, people try to comfort you and say, hey, don't worry about it. This is very routine. They do this every day. It's not something to really worry about. And those people have kindness in their heart, and they're really trying to comfort you. So he came out of surgery, everything seemed fine. And he just, after a day or two, they expected him to wake up, and he just didn't wake up. And then, has all these tubes connected, and they're monitoring everything. And that's one thing I'll say about Rep C. I was Rep C regional at the time. Those nurses and doctors in the ICU were just incredible. He had one-on-one nursing care 24 hours a day, and they really took good care of him. And when you talk to anybody in the healthcare profession, when you talk about the ICU, it's not an easy place to work. And those people were our angels on earth. I mean, they really pour themselves. I don't know how they come in and out of situations and go home and just live their lives, because I'm sure that the weight of their patients still are with them. So he had fantastic care there. And after a day or two after they expected him to wake up, wasn't waking up. And the doctor kind of said, it happens. Sometimes they're just not, it just takes a little bit longer. And then one night I was just laying in bed, and it was 3 a.m. and I just hear knocking on my door, and I'm like, I just figured it was somebody at the wrong place or whatever. And I'm like, if somebody really needed me, they would call. And I looked at my phone, and I had about 15 missed calls from my mom and the police. And so I called my mom, and she said that my dad had crashed during the night. And so rushed over to the hospital to see my family. And I was just really thankful that I was living in Rapid again, and I have family here. My dad's sister was back in town, and I have some aunt and uncles that live here too, and just people that you can lean on, and they know they kind of can be there through it with you. And so we they tried to revive him, and just nothing really worked. And so we kind of went in and said our last goodbyes to him. And I was really thankful for a friend, Brittany Gardner, now Brittany Riemann. She was a track teammate of mine who had just lost her dad. And it's something that it's really hard for people to understand it unless you go through it. And to have somebody there, to be honest with you, I don't remember even the words that they talked about, but just the comfort of knowing that, hey, life is going to be okay. And I think as a teacher and an educator, I've been with 6th grade students that have lost parents. And kind of the thing that kind of hit me was I'm just really thankful to have my dad guide me through those formative years. And then as a professional too, the lessons that he taught me still stay with me to this day. And so I think a lot about that when we go to meets, and just think about, okay, what would my dad tell these kids? I really do try to think about that. And that's kind of the neat thing, being in the position that I'm at now, where I'm kind of in his shoes, what he used to do. And all those lessons about taking care of yourself, doing those little things, those things that really help with performance, but also telling kids, reminding them about how how do you treat people, and the importance of being kind to others. And when you start seeing that success, that you're kind to people on the way up, because eventually something's going to happen, and you're going to go back down, and you're going to meet those people again. Things like that have stuck with me. And I'm just very thankful that we had that relationship, and that those lessons were taught, and that he was a teacher, and kind of guided me through those things. And so it's something I'm so thankful for, to have him in my life. And that he was really wanted to do better than what his dad was doing. And he battled alcohol a little bit when he was in college, and he knew that he could not have a family and do that like his dad. And so I'm just so thankful that he wanted to have that relationship and really poured in me. So that's kind of the story.
That's wonderful. So with he had a lot of success obviously in running, and you have too. I guess winning in running and winning in life, what was I guess, did he ever was there something that you remember that he said to you, or a specific moment or memory that you have about kind of those two things?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about running is it is so symbolic of life. I think the thing that he really taught me was to do it, you gotta do it consistently and do it about every day. And his big thing was he wanted to, when he was out running early in the morning, he would say to himself, I'm doing this while my competition is in sleeping in a warm bed. I'm out here putting the work in. And I think that that's so true in life too. If you want to be successful, you can't, it's got to be daily habits that you do. And, obviously as a teacher now, it's a daily thing. It's just like running. It's every day you got to show up and you got to put your best foot forward and be ready for those kids. And, it's no different than running when you're getting ready for a workout. It's just preparation beforehand and getting ready.
Awesome lesson. I remember one thing you said too. I saw you at a track meet. My son he's really hard on himself. And you had said something about comparison is the thief of all joy. That was like your favorite. And I told it to him and he just kind of sat there like and thought about it. I'm like, buddy, look at what you did do. Like you said a PR for you, and then he was able to like think about that. And then like when he talked to Josh, that's what he told him about, instead of like being so hard on himself. So
What is it?
Yeah.
Comparison is the thief to all joy. Is that what you said?
something, is that right?
Yeah. And that I don't know who came up with that quote, but I thought of that a lot when I saw that quote. I was like, oh, I know exactly what that feels like, because my dad was, a state record holder. He's still on the top 10 mile list, and he ran his time 53 years ago. And so, I ran 4:19 in the mile in high school, and I would sit at my kitchen table and I'm like, wow, I wasn't even close to you, and so, that was kind of I wasn't always satisfied with what I did. I always looked at my dad as the example, and I think that's a great thing for kids to do. And, but at the same time, and he'd never put pressure on me to run as fast as he did or anything like that. It was just all internal. And, I would just look at him and say, well, I'm not even the fastest person under my roof in my house, it's, and it took away a lot of the, I think, joy that I should have had in running what I did. And so I try to tell that to kids when they're comparing themselves to other runners. That's kind of the hard part about the sport too, is that, you're racing other people. That's kind of one of the purposes of it. But I think that that's so true in life as well, when you're talking about, well, I don't have as nice of a car or a nice of a house as somebody. But, I look around right now and hey, we have a really nice house for two educators, and we have a little one upstairs that's trying to go to sleep, and life is really good right now when I look at it. And it's really easy to get on Instagram or Twitter and see what other people are doing. And but I'm just really thankful where we're at as a family. So it's also translated into other things and as well for me.
So there's I enjoy running a teeny bit too, Marshall. And a quote that I came across that I think in a sense states that same thing in a few different words. It says, you do what you can with what you have where you are. And that really eliminates that comparison stuff, because it just takes it to you. And in racing, you really aren't, even though events have participants oftentimes with them, you're really racing the clock.
Yep. Each
Person's racing the clock. And in life, we're really not racing anybody but life itself. Like we're really just, we all have a time and we all have a life. Like, so it takes that comparison out of it. That's a really good, I like that. Comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yeah.
Tell us.
And then it also goes back to kind of what you guys are trying to do with the Look Up campaign. You know, when I think our phones are a big distraction to us, and you know, doing with what you can with what you have. A lot of times we're looking at our phones for that validation, and really it takes away from the relationships that potentially could be there, that we're just not even looking up and looking at other people.
So can you tell the viewers a little bit about this coming week and the tradition that's been started with the Coach K Memorial Mile?
And I guess
Yeah.
what that meant to you and your family.
Yeah, so this whole thing started actually when Lily passed, and you know, I called my dad and I just said, I just feel like we need to do something for her. And my dad just said, well, you know, there's a million 5Ks and 10Ks around. There's no mile race. And so little did I know, 2 months later, after we had that conversation, then he would pass, and you guys reached out, and it really became a partnership, which I'm so thankful for. So on Tuesday over at Sioux Park Track, we're going to get together. Registration, you can do it online or you can do it in person, but it's a free event. One of the reasons I wanted it to be free was I didn't want anybody to not participate who wanted to. And what we're going to do is people can donate if they want, and that money is going to go to a scholarship at Northern State University, where my dad attended and ran, and it actually helps a athlete there that's running, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I actually found the young man that the scholarship was given to last year, and he's hopefully going to be at the event this year. But we get together, and then at 7 o'clock, we're actually adding in a little kids race, which will just be 100 meters. So anybody that's 5 years old or under. And then we have an elementary 800, which we put in there because of my dad's constant work with elementary kids and making sure that they have opportunities to run. And then we have a community mile where if you want to come and tear up the track, you can certainly do that. The first few lanes will be for that, and then the outside lanes will be for anybody that just wants to come and walk, spend time with their friends. That's probably where I'll be right now with where I'm at with my running, and I'll probably just be there walking and running with my daughter and wife. And so yeah, it's a really great event. I'm very thankful that you guys have partnered with us, and you know, it's just a really neat event to bring out the community and to celebrate not only Lily and my dad, but also just being out there and running with each other and being present in the moment without a cell phone. So it's really good.
So how is I guess the assumption is that it has, maybe I should ask, has this event helped you, your mom, the community in any way, honor your dad in any way? Has that been helpful for you guys?
Yeah, it's been really rewarding, you know, especially the little kids race. For many years, my dad put on the elementary cross country races throughout town, and I'm very thankful that Seth Keen has taken it over, and he's actually named it after my dad, which is just a huge honor. It's so his big thing was he just wanted to get kids running, and I think knowing his background of just kind of having a troubled childhood with low income parents that were just they had struggles, and running really took him out of that environment and changed his life. And I think that he realized how big that can be. And so to kind of do something similar just means a lot to us. And then to see, people that he had as a student or colleagues that he had, family, having everybody show up has just been really special too.
Well, there's a bench made in honor of your dad at the track. And what does that quote say again? I forgot what it said.
Enjoy the experience was his big quote. And yeah, the year after he passed, the jump ropers over at Meadowbrook Elementary did a fundraiser for that bench, and for some odd reason there was no bench right up from the finish line, and so we figured that was a perfect spot for it. And so yeah, very thankful for that. So we put a wreath. His birthday was just on the 17th, and so we hung a wreath. This year would have been his 70th, and that bench just means a lot to me and my family.
That's so neat.
Well, it's good that it's at the finish line, lessons from the finish line. So
Yeah,
I can go when
that.
I go and sit at that park and look at, I'll sit down on that bench and think about what lessons I can learn from the finish line, the literal.
Yeah.
And there's also Coach Kambestad. They do like an award every year, right? With the running club and all that too.
Yeah, so each
In
PE,
the elementary schools.
yeah, the elementary schools do. So everybody on the west side of town, because he mainly spent time on the east side or the west side of town. They nominate a boy and a girl for 5th and 4th grade that are competitors. They show up every day, but are also good students and good people. And they give them a T-shirt, and it's been really neat, especially when I was over teaching at Southwest. I'm at Central now, but kids would come into my classroom with that shirt on, and it was always really fun to talk to them about it. So, yeah.
Thank you. It warms my heart every time I see that given, and it's just so neat to be a part of the run with you guys and just honor such a great man as your dad. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your story. And our little one's going to join us.
Hey.
We just want to wish all of you fathers out there a happy Father's Day. And we know that today can be hard, as I'm sure there's some other that have lost your father, and our hearts are with you, and we're sending love, and just focus on those wonderful memories that you had with them. So thank you again, Marshall.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks. Happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, you too.
So Facebook Live.